This is going to be pretty grim, this conversation. I want to warn you now. We're going to talk about the footballer Mason Greenwood and his mooted return to Manchester United. This is a much more complicated issue than you realise, because I think the most complicated issues are the ones that people who are diametrically opposed to each other think are simple. See, for me, this is quite simple. But I know for an awful lot of people, there will be a desperation to believe that it isn't. And in fact, that's probably not fair, because I'm accusing you of insincerity. If I were a Manchester United fan and Mason Greenwood made his way back into the team, I would never watch that football team again. If you don't know who or what I'm talking about, I need to give you a trigger warning. I need to warn you that we are about to describe an audio recording of a man abusing a woman and attempting to coerce her into sex. Okay? It is now more than 18 months since the harrowing audio emerged of a man alleged at the time to be Greenwood abusing a woman and attempting to coerce her into sex. The woman also posted pictures of her bleeding face and bruised body, suggesting that Greenwood had inflicted her injuries. Criminal charges against Greenwood were dropped after key witnesses, and I quote, withdrew their cooperation from the investigation. Those quotes are from the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service. But the audio is still available. Indeed, Nick read it out this morning. You can go and listen to it whenever you want. You can draw from that audio whatever conclusion that you want. My opinion is that Manchester United should not allow him back into the team. I don't know whether you're going to try to sway me by suggesting that if he demonstrated profound remorse or became a poster boy for transformative therapy, that the picture would change. I'm going to invite you to... in fact, quite a few of you are suggesting I need to read out the audio of what was actually on the tape as well, which I'll take your guidance on that, and I will do, because that's how this programme works. I can only say this. I can only say that were I a Manchester United fan and Mason Greenwood came back into the side, I would never, ever give them a penny of my money again. And you cannot be a responsible part of a society without objecting in the strongest terms to the idea that this man should return to Manchester United. But imagine somebody who is listening to this or reading this today in the newspaper and across the detail thinking to themselves, how can anyone be both siding this? I don't know. Are you going to go for innocent not until proven guilty? I just don't know. But how can this be a conversation? That's what I want you to do. I want you to tell the person. I don't think we're going to argue. I'm more interested in canvassing contributions. You need to explain to someone who cannot believe that anybody anywhere is proposing the notion that there are two sides to this argument, why this conversation even exists. If I were a Manchester United fan and Mason Greenwood went back into the team, that would be it for me. I would be tearing up my season ticket and sticking my scarf in the bin. How can you possibly hold a different opinion?
I'm also a father of two daughters, got three sisters, so it's a tough one. But the angle I'm coming at this is more of, is it a problem that he's playing for Man United? Is that the problem?
No, I think it would be a problem if he played for anybody. But at the moment, the decision is Manchester United's because he's under contract for another 2 years.
Okay, and obviously it's a girl that he was with from school. He made a huge mistake. So should his future employment be completely terminated for a mistake he made at 18 that he wasn't charged for?
Yeah, I think he was charged.
Right,
he was charged, but he wasn't convicted, and that's a crucial point that you make.
I haven't heard one person come online to say, you know what, he's 18, maybe we need to help him or do this.
No,
nothing.
But to be fair, this is the
extermination for this kid.
Sean, you're the second caller, and you're making precisely the point you're saying that no one else has made. So it's now 50-50.
Level of vitriol against this guy when people make mistakes and are given second chances in public life every day.
It's not really a mistake, is it? As the last caller said, a mistake is accidentally leaving your keys in the front door.
Yeah, but we don't know their sexual relationship. This is what I mean. There's a lot in this story that hasn't. We don't know their sexual relationship. This is his girl from school.
Yeah.
Yes, it's abhorrent what he done, and this is a huge learning curve for him. But it shows that he's actually now gone on and had a child with the same girl.
I don't know.
Something.
Well, no, it tells me nothing, of course, because victims of domestic abuse very, very often don't leave the scenario.
He was 18. He made a mistake. He's been punished severely for that mistake.
Well, he's been on 75 grand a week throughout, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah, but that's to do with his talent.
So what's the punishment?
So if he was on £8 a week, would that be all right then?
No, I'm just talking about punishment.
And if there was a case to answer at court, there would have been. That's my whole point.
Not without witnesses, Sean.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. How many things of people about witnesses? That's what. If the witness wants to go forward, that's down to the witness.
Yeah. And they didn't.
So why is everyone else?
You've already answered that question.
Why is everyone else become judges and juries?
It's not judges and juries. No one's suggesting that he needs to be imprisoned or.
Yeah, but you're suggesting that he shouldn't work.
Yeah, because you're seeing it from the wrong end of the telescope.
Why shouldn't he work again? Why? I don't get it.
You're seeing it from the wrong end of the telescope. Manchester United should not.
Oh, so it is Manchester United. That's my point.
Or Rovers or whatever club you want to talk about.
So you're saying that he should stop work because he's a footballer. So he'd have to play for someone.
I'm saying that no organisation, even if he wanted to go and work for Rent-A-Kill, should be associating themselves with somebody who's done what he's done.
So he should stop work. He should stop his profession. That's what you mean.
Yeah, God, yes. Sorry, I thought that was clear. Okay.
How can he stop work at 19? I don't get that.
All right. Well, what if he was 30?
Does it, as I say...
What if he was 42?
To me, that's a big difference. That's a big difference.
Okay, so it's his age.
Somebody doing something at 18, if you're telling them that you want them to never have a job again, is a bit, extreme.
When you say someone, you're kind of evading the central point that this is a man who has done what he did. This isn't just someone. This is someone who was recorded abusing a woman and attempting to coerce her into sex. A woman who was allegedly subsequently posted pictures of her bleeding face and bruised body. So, I mean, would it be fair to ask me? I don't know how old your children are. Would it be fair to ask me
wrong from my point?
How you explain? How do you explain to your daughter why he should be back on the team?
Yeah. What I would explain to my daughter is,
go on.
He's made a huge mistake. Look at what this idiot's done.
Right.
He's been given a God-blessed talent.
So what's the punishment?
Well, he's not played for nearly 2 years.
No, moving forward, what's the punishment?
He's not played for nearly 2 years.
Yeah, that's moving backwards. If he's back in the team tomorrow, moving forward, what's the punishment? What's the penalty?
Well, penalty for what? He hasn't been charged with anything.
You just said yourself he's done a disgusting thing.
Yeah, he's done a disgusting thing.
So what's the punishment?
People do disgusting things every day.
So we don't want to encourage them, Sean.
They don't have to stop work.
All right, mate. Okay. So no punishment at all.
Donald Trump's just been found guilty.
I'd be supremely comfortable to see him prevented from ever working again, Sean. It's possibly you could have picked a better example. I don't fully understand the point that you're making. Where we differ is that I think this sort of conduct should be career-ending, and you don't.
He's a mug. He's a complete mug.
Yeah, but just want to part on agreeing to disagree. I think this conduct should be career-ending, and you don't.
No, I don't.
That's it. Okay, you said it. That's good.
Oh, hi there, James. I think that the feeling of injustice relates more to a system failure. So we see the video and hear the audio, and I think that viscerally connects with us, and we immediately believe it wholeheartedly. But the way that the system works is that someone makes a claim, and then that's tested by the criminal justice system. And in this case, for whatever reason, the poor woman wasn't actually able to go through with that process. So whether that was because she didn't feel strong enough, supported enough, whether it was the sort of hideously low conviction rates, whatever it was, that process of testing whatever defence Mason Greenwood came up with.
I think you're. I mean, if the allegation were confined to paper, then I think it would be impossible to argue with you. But people are responding to the recording, aren't they? People are responding to the evidence that has been put before a court, if you like, a metaphorical court in which they sit. And so, really, Mason Greenwood's defence would be directed at that evidence, and it hasn't been anywhere. So here's the recording of you saying these things and the pictures of your girlfriend like this. What are you going to say?
I mean, so this is my point. So emotionally,
no, this is my question. This is you now. It's you I've got on tape, and it's your girlfriend. What are you going to say? It's in the public arena. Everyone's seen it. What are you going to say?
So if that were me, then it wouldn't have happened in the first place.
That's not the point, is it? We know that it did happen. So you can't say that. We've got the tape and we've got the pictures. So how are you going to defend it?
I think that's exactly the point.
In what circumstances would you not defend yourself?
So, in the circumstances that he's advised. So, James, I think so. You know, when you say alleged,
I'm going to ask that question again because we're going to run out of time. If that was you, pictures of your girlfriend, recording of you, in what circumstances would you not defend yourself?
When I was told that might compromise my later ability to win at trial, however justified my defence.
You're not a footballer. You're Jamie and Wandsworth. In what circumstances would you not defend yourself?
But I would defend myself in the sense I plead not guilty.
But in what circumstances wouldn't you defend yourself? It's not going to court. It's there. The tape is there. You've got to address it. You've got to talk about it. I can think of one circumstance in which you wouldn't talk about it. And so can you. You just won't say it out loud.
I mean, so you want me to say because he's guilty?
No, I want you to answer the question honestly about you, not him. There's a tape of you doing that to your girlfriend. There's pictures of her covered in bruises. In what circumstances would you leave that in the public domain utterly unchallenged?
None, because even if I did it...
But it has been utterly unchallenged. So in what circumstances could that happen in your mind if it was you?
When you describe his sort of actions, you have to say alleged because it's not proven. And as long as
that's why I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you. There it is, the pictures of your girlfriend, the recording of you saying those things, and you are leaving it completely unchallenged in the public space. How could that possibly happen? How could you possibly do that?
I simply don't know.
I do.
You should face the consequences if it was a different crime in a different place. An 18-year-old doesn't make a silly mistake and not pay for it just because they're a footballer, just because they're 18.
I guess in a sense we have to acknowledge or accommodate the fact that there is no conviction here. That the facts as we think we know them are based entirely upon this harrowing audio and the photographs of the bleeding.
Sometimes morals come above everything else.
Yeah,
we all know it was him. He knows it was him. Man, you know it was him.
They certainly very much strongly alleged it was him. But
he wouldn't have been sitting on 75 grand a week at home if they were unsure. Would he?
I don't know.
If they were completely unsure, he's denied it. Would he be sitting at home for 18 months?
I haven't seen any attempted denial, but obviously... But in the absence... I know, but just for broadcasting regulations and the law of the land, albeit that I agree with you, morals must transcend on occasion. Without a conviction, this is all alleged behaviour, but no, I've seen neither. Okay. I've seen neither remorse nor denial, and therefore we're all working on the presumption that it happened. Why should his entire life be punishment, if you like? His
entire life isn't punished. It's not being punished. His entire life is not punished. Playing at the top level may have been punished, and that's unfortunately for him. That's the way he chose to play his cards.
Yes.
I've got a 15-year-old Man U crazy footballer. How do I explain to him and raise him knowing that he can get away with that because of his status, because of the cost, because of his age? No.
So I've got my head in my hands with this one. So I'm a teacher of 15 years, and my prediction would be that Mason Greenwood will play for Manchester United again, and that is going to add to the problems that we have with young people who see people like Andrew Tate as a role model, or certainly idolise some of the things that he says.
Yes.
And if Mason Greenwood is allowed to get away with this and resume his career, which I feel he probably will,
Yes.
despite the audio, or not the audio that you read out earlier, this is just going to add to the problems that we have with our young people. We've made such progress with them, you know, in terms of sexual harassment and all this sort of awareness that banter is a banter, etc., etc. And this is going to set us back again, and it is becoming a huge problem, not just in this area, but you know, with the language towards immigration and all that. And I'm not talking about immigration, but the language, all of that wrapped up, is becoming a far more of an issue in schools. Children are empty vessels, and they're influenced by their parents. They're influenced by their role models. Yeah. They're hugely influenced by social media. I'm so pleased that the school was closed when the vice chairman of the Conservative Party said what he said about immigrants, because no doubt I would be fielding those sort of comments in school from children to others. 100% that would be happening. Yeah. And the reason that I feel Mason Greenwood will get away with this is because these types, certainly the last few years, these types of behaviours have been allowed, maybe emboldened is the right word, but it has become sort of okay. I mean,
normalised.
About what Trump has said, normalised. That's a brilliant word. Yeah. If you think of what Trump said before the election about how he has treated women, you know, just it feels like the country's moral compass has gone completely haywire.
If it ever had one, maybe we were just paying lip service to moral compasses and pretending that we cared about these things while privately scoffing or behaving abominably. I don't know. I mean, maybe we're the naive ones, and everybody else is finally, you know, saying out loud what everybody's been secretly thinking. I don't think so, personally. I think that decency eventually can become a selfish pursuit. You want to live in a decent society so that people can't treat you indecently.
I feel, James, that young people are a reflection of the society in which they live, and that is why I'm saying these things are getting a lot worse. It has all been about education, or re-education, should I say, and realising, you know, what banter is, you know, or that they shouldn't be able to.
Do you succeed in pushing back? Is what I'm asking, really. Do you? I mean, are there things you do that help boys?
Yeah, I would say we had been making a significant amount of progress. This type of thing, you know, will set us back. I remember an incident where I had some young girls in my year group. They were 13, 14, and they were complaining that builders were wolf whistling to them. Now, I couldn't even believe that this. And they were just, sir, are we just meant to? And I was like, oh, obviously not. You know, we can't accept that. Yeah. But it didn't even. Do you know what I mean? We had made such progress, and I've just got my head in my hands because people, you know, he will be allowed to play again, and the way that the country is going in the moral compass, as I've said before, and it's not just this Mason Greenwood, it's the way our politicians behave, it's the language that is used. All of this is reflected in our young people from their parents.
It's pretty crazy when the vice chairman of the Conservative Party can do things in public that would get one of your pupils thrown out of the classroom.
Honestly, James, those exact words would have been repeated to some of our children that we've taken in from a variety of different countries. Those words will have been repeated, and this is what, it's so difficult. And I don't really know what to say, James, because I've just got my head in my hand.
No, don't worry. Well, you've done pretty well. Not only have you been very clear, considering that your head's been in your hand throughout this conversation, but you've said plenty. You've given serious food for thought. And there you go, 30p Leenock, putting words in the mouths of 15-year-olds who will be in classrooms with refugee children.